Hey y'all, welcome to the channel. Today we're checking out top 10 British albums that changed music forever.
These records redefined popular music. Welcome to Watch Mojo UK, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 British albums that changed music forever. For this list, we're ranking the greatest game-changing records ever to have come out of Great Britain.
Okay, so I'm gonna predict that Sgt. Pepper will be on here, Dark Side of the Moon will be on here, maybe London Calling by The Clash, maybe an Elton John record? I don't know, let's see who they say.
Number 10, definitely maybe, Oasis.
Okay.
Before becoming a worldwide phenomenon and the figureheads of Britpop, Manchester's Oasis had to break into the mainstream. Liam and Noel Gallagher arrived with Definitely Maybe, their first studio album, and a record widely considered as one of the best of the 90s. The ballsy debut blends Beatle-esque influences with a raw energy which quickly became an Oasis trademark. Selling faster than any debut album before it, Definitely Maybe definitely put Britain back on the musical map.
Okay, Oasis. Alright, we're only at number 10. I didn't have this album when it came out, but I remember the singles from it. It was big in America. Changed music forever, though? I don't know about that. But what do I know? I'm a dumb American.
Number 9, A Night at the Opera.
Oh,
Queen.
yes!
Having tasted some success with previous albums, here's where Queen came of age, bringing all of their influences together for their now unmistakable sound. Led by Freddie Mercury's unique vocals, the band blends hard and prog rock with radio-friendly pop for an album which develops into an extravagant and operatic rock masterpiece. While every element is meticulously fine-tuned, Bohemian Rhapsody is an undisputed highlight, and still one of the greatest stadium anthems ever written.
Absolutely. Okay, A Night at the Opera, Death on Two Legs, You're My Best Friend, Good Company, Bohemian Rhapsody, God Save the Queen. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So A Night at the Opera was their fourth album. Queen, Queen 2, Sheer Heart Attack, then Night at the Opera. Okay, this is making sense, because I remember hearing somewhere that Killer Queen was their first big hit. I feel like they should be higher on the list.
Number 8, The Queen is Dead. The Smiths. He may be one of music's most controversial figures, but alongside Johnny Marr, Morrissey was an all-out icon, fronting one of the most influential acts of the 80s. The Smiths paved the way for alternative music trends, and The Queen is Dead became a blueprint for indie rock. Boasting a tracklist stacked with celebrated songs, from Cemetery Gates to There Is a Light That Never Goes Out, this was an album quite unlike anything that came before.
Well, yeah, I never really got into the Smiths. I'm actually surprised this made it to the list, in front of A Night at the Opera. Although the criteria is that it changed music forever, so I could see how the Smiths would be on here because I feel like Morrissey's voice typified the singing voice of the time. It was very popular to have that kind of tone. So okay, all right.
Number 7, Let It Bleed. The Rolling Stones.
Really?
There have been few more influential bands in the history of rock music, and Let It Bleed was the Rolling Stones at the absolute apex of their career. Containing some of the Stones' greatest songs, it stands as a tour de force of blues and rock. From the timeless Gimme Shelter to the anthemic You Can't Always Get What You Want, it's packed with euphoric instrumentals alongside Mick Jagger's signature snarl. Plus, it's the final Stones album to feature founding member Brian Jones.
Okay. At first I was surprised that this was the Rolling Stones album that made it on here. I thought it would be Exile on Main Street or something like that. Maybe one of the 80s ones. Voodoo, what's it called? Anyway, okay, yeah, Let It Bleed. It had Gimme Shelter and Can't Always Get You What You Want. So that makes sense. What other songs were on Let It Bleed? Honky Tonk Woman, that's a great one. I love that that's a play on the Beatles album Let It Be.
Number 6, Never Mind the Bollocks, here's the Sex Pistols. Sex Pistols.
Yeah.
They're punk pioneers, and this is their seminal album. The Sex Pistols barged into public consciousness with Never Mind the Bollocks, inciting controversy even before a single song was played. The album cover and title triggered a censorship row at the time of release, while the record's raw and unrefined style proved the epitome of punk. With other punk outfits pitching punchy but more complex songs, the Pistols went for all-out anarchy. It's not necessarily the best punk album out there, but never mind the Bollocks was a gut-busting game-changer.
As far as influential albums go, this was extremely influential. They helped define punk. They helped define a whole genre. Pretty impressive. Great job, Sex Pistols, if you're out there watching. Good work.
Number 5, Paranoid, Black Sabbath.
Oh.
When four lads from Birmingham started a rock band in the late 60s, few could have predicted the impact that they'd have. But Black Sabbath became one of the most important groups in heavy metal history, revolutionizing hard rock and becoming the true pioneers of their genre. We might easily have included their self-titled debut record on today's list, but Sabbath's follow-up Paranoid is arguably one of the greatest achievements in popular music, period. In just 8 tracks, it set a brand new standard, becoming the first port of call for heavy metal fans.
Yeah, I totally forgot about this album. War Pigs, Paranoid, Iron Man. Yeah, huge album. Another one that created a genre. Way to go, Black Sabbath. Good work, Ozzy.
Number 4, Led Zeppelin 4. Led Zeppelin.
Yes.
Any number of Led Zepp records might have featured today, with the iconic outfit responsible for a hugely influential body of work.
4 was different.
But Zeppelin's 4th album came at the height of their powers, becoming one of the best-selling records of all time. And for good reason.
Oh, great album. It sounds good too.
Striking a perfect balance between hard, edgy rock and more melodic tunes. From Black Dog to When the Levee Breaks, there's not one track that's out of step. And of course, Stairway to Heaven still stands as one of the best ever.
I forgot that was on there. Yes, Led Zeppelin 4. I just reacted to another video about the top 10 most influential bands, I think it was. And Led Zeppelin didn't make it. They weren't on the top 10. What the heck, man? But now, yes, Zeppelin 4 made it. They're number what? Are they number 4? Curious that Led Zeppelin 4 is number 4. Maybe it should be a little higher on the list. Maybe someone at Watch Mojo UK is just like, we'll put it at number 4 because it's number 4. Beautiful album. I do feel like it should be higher on the list.
Number 3, The Dark Side of the Moon, Pink Floyd. A standout effort from one of Britain's best, The Dark Side of the Moon is not only Pink Floyd's most successful album, but one of the best-selling records of all time.
Ever.
Placing in US charts for 741 consecutive weeks until 1988.
Wow.
It's not so much remembered for a series of stonking singles, but rather as a collective, pristine example of how an album should sound.
Yes.
With a lasting influence on Floyd's live shows as well, it's required listening for rock music fans.
I feel like this should be higher on the list. I don't know what number 2 is going to be, but I feel like this was, maybe Sgt. Pepper was a more influential album, but this is almost more of an accomplishment. It came after Sgt. Pepper, so I guess Sgt. Pepper influenced it to some degree. Dark Side of the Moon kind of perfected that. It's such a great, it's a masterpiece. Absolute masterpiece. If you've not done it, listen to Dark Side of the Moon all the way through. Let yourself get absorbed into it, and you will feel the range of all human emotions possible. It's absolutely beautiful. Let's see who they say is number 2.
Number 2, The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars,
Okay.
David Bowie. As probably Bowie's best-known album, Ziggy Stardust came after a series of successful records, including a self-titled second album. But here's where Bowie truly establishes himself as a glam rock revolutionary and a cultural icon by developing his Stardust alter ego to reflect his own career and personality. Including classics like Starman and Rock and Roll Suicide. Not only did this album significantly shake things up when it was released, but these songs are still sung today.
This album was not even on my radar. I didn't expect them to say this, but it does make sense. From what I understand, he was one of the first artists to have like a genderless identity and to create this other persona. I guess the Beatles did that with Sgt. Pepper first, though. We don't know who's number 1 yet. It might be Sgt. Pepper. I didn't expect it, but yeah, I agree. This is a very influential album. I'll agree to it being number 2 over Dark Side of the Moon, I guess. And Led Zeppelin 4. Okay. I'm accepting it. I've accepted it. If Sgt. Pepper's not number one, I don't know what I will do.
Before we reveal our top pick, here's a few honorable mentions.
Okay, computer. Ah. Yes. Yes. Okay, computer should be here instead of that Oasis album. Extremely influential album. Oh, I would not have thought that the Animals would be on here. The only Animals song that I know is House of the Rising Sun, which you're playing now, but why that album? Why? What's the album called? The Animals, The Animals. So they're creative. Story of Bo Diddley. Burn My Body, Dimples, I've Been Around, I'm in Love Again, The Girl Can't Help It, I'm Mad Again, She Said Yeah, The Right Time, Memphis, Tennessee, Boom Boom, Around and Around. I've not heard this album. I'm gonna have to listen to it. Look whose style they're ripping off. Dire Straits, okay. Yeah, alright. Honorable mention. I reacted to a video just last week or so, and that was when I learned that Dire Straits were from Britain. For some reason, I thought they were from Detroit. I don't know why, but I mean, for years I thought they were from Detroit. I don't know. I don't know why.
Number 1, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. The
All right.
Beatles. Often
Okay.
cited as the most influential British band ever, this is the Beatles at their boldest. With an instantly recognisable cover, Sgt. Pepper's reshaped the rock music landscape, serving as a primary inspiration for most of the records featured on this very list. John, Paul, George and Ringo take us on a psychedelic counterculture voyage, built on all they had achieved before, but determined to push the boundaries further still. From open to close, it redefined the look, feel and sound of pop music, and still stands as the Fab Four's finest hour.
Okay, I can sleep tonight. Another fun fact about Sgt. Pepper, y'all, is that it was the first album to have the lyrics printed on the album sleeve. Changed music forever. Wonderful classic album. If this was not number one, I'd be very upset. Don't you all agree that Radiohead's OK Computer should be there instead of that Oasis album, though? Come on. At least Led Zeppelin made it on the list. I'm glad about that. And at least Sgt. Pepper was number one. I'm glad about that. I feel relieved. Great. This is success. All right. And I also found some music I need to listen to. The Animals. I gotta listen to that. Anyway, thank y'all for watching this video with me, and I'll see you next time. Later.